My name is Mary Sewall, and we will be working on Lesson 8. We will be doing the piano and a little bit of another instrument just to learn how 88 keys of the piano relate to four-string instrument. And I was working in my basement the other day, and I found a book that I had called 20,000 Guitar Chords. And I thought, who in the world ever uses 20,000 chords? Because normally if I watch a show that's going on television, they have some guitarists, they have their hand on the chord and they never move it. So they're like playing one chord. And that seems to be the norm. They know very few chords. Not all of them, of course, but many of them don't know many chords. But when I was thinking about that, I thought that was most unusual. But we will go to the piano now and see what's going on. The name of the piece is There Is a Tavern in the Town. Now we want you to play the piano and I will go over the notes. We start with the G note. Another G. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we have an F sharp. 2, 3, 4. Another G. And a lot of G's. G, A, G, F sharp, D, D, D. Alright, now we will go to another piece. And this one here is in 3/4 time, only 3 beats to a measure. And it's called Solito Linda. We start, it'd be 3 beats. Alright. This one also I would like you to play, and we'll go over this piece with the right hand. C, C, A. Now this part is a little difficult because you have to stop playing and then you have to continue, which makes it harder to play the music. If you're just playing it and you don't stop, it's much easier. I'll start that again. Stop. Stop. And stop. 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 Now you have to remember that all the pieces we have been playing are different every time we had a lesson. So that doesn't mean that you never touch the pieces again. You have to keep playing them to remember to continue and progress. So I don't know how much work you've done, if you even ever touched the piano since I had a lesson with you. But you're supposed to practice. That's the only way you could get exercise of the physical body in playing music, is by playing. So, we make sure that we go over some of the pieces. Like, for instance, we went over this. That doesn't mean you play it one time in a lifetime. You have to keep playing it. And the reason private pupils have recitals is because the instructor has them play having an audience, so they have to practice, they have to memorize it, and they really know the piece. But in a case like this, when you don't have anyone watching you, you try to get away with it and say, oh, I don't have to practice, I could do it. But it doesn't work that way. You're going to end up with nothing if you don't practice. So you go over the pieces. And try to practice a bit each day and go over the pieces that we went together. Oh, and we did this the last lesson. This the last time I went and I bought some wine in a store, and I noticed they had a bottle of my Wild Irish Rose, and I never knew that. Anyway, so now we will work a little bit on the mandolin. Yes, I did a sketch of this, even though you may not know anything about the mandolin, and I don't know much about it either, but I know how to read music, so I know what they're talking about. But it only has 4 strings, and they're doubled, and then we have 88 keys, and you might wonder, how in the world can you get all that music in this little tiny thing? But you can, because now if we take this instrument, and you don't have to go out and buy it, we're just doing it mentally. The name of the first string is E. And you might say, well, where in the world would E be? And you would never find it if you didn't study notes, because you have no idea where E is. You open up the book, you don't know it. So, the first place you'll find that E is where the piano notes are. And where would E be? Well, if you know how to read music, you find middle C, and you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's an octave. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and a third. And this is where E is. This is the E of the instrument, the highest one. And because you know how to read notes, that one E has brought this whole page filled with this one note. And if you didn't read notes, it would be like trying to see what's underneath the ocean. You wouldn't have any idea at all. But this one note, E, brought this out and all this. So then the next step is, well, what does this E look like? Well, if you want to see it written down in note value, this is the E we're talking about. And the E we're talking about here. And you also have to know this part of music because it tells you how long to hold this note. It tells you to hold it for 4 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4. No more and no less, because music is mathematical, very, very strict. All right. So then you say, oh, so you mean I could play this, but what is this note? Well, you go up the alphabet, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. A, B, C, D, E. This note, this is F. And this one here is a G. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Because we only have 7 letters in the musical alphabet. And so, if you decide you want to hold this less than 4 counts, not less, but you want to be able to play it with some rhythm. And so what you do is you cut it in half. This line will make it 2 and 2 make 4. So then instead of playing 1, 2, 3, 4, you play 1, 2, 3. You give it some life. And we do the same thing with the F. Instead of 4, we cut it in half, and the G. And then we want more life to it. So we play every one. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're saving this one. It's an F sharp because we didn't go that far. But from that one note, and we didn't even complete this because this is for the instrument. If you actually want to play a chord on the instrument, this will, just like a chord on a guitar. A guitar, you read these, you read the frets, and you read all of this where the chord is printed on. So you will see, then you open up your book and oh yes, this here shows you how to find the actual chord, and this is the way it works. This is called a C chord. You take the left hand and you put it on 1, 2, 3 on the 3rd string and the 3rd fret. So you put 1, 2, and then you strum your mandolin or your guitar. As a matter of fact, the Spanish guitar with the 6 strings and mandolin with the 4th string, they share the same E. They had that same first string. So then here's another chord that you play, and you have to learn this. So you, of course, many guitarists and mandolinists, they just play the chords. They don't know how to read the music, so they just learn this. They say, oh, I put my finger here and here, and I could play. And I could change the chord. This is the C chord, and I could change it to a G7. So then, I mean, that was not that difficult. And so, I played this the last time. If you know how to read music and you know piano music, you could play the mandolin and you could play the Spanish guitar, and it opens up many, many doors. And these are the chords that you play. You say, oh, I know this chord. And these little zeros mean you just play those two strings, but you have four, so you strum all four strings. And then when you change the chord to a G7, you don't have to read this music, you could just play the chords. But then you're limited. That's all you're able to do. Now, if you're able to read music, you could play this middle C, and I just played two pieces with this G, and here it is again. And you learn it by repetition, and so on. And middle C, we had that the last lesson. G, 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 F. In the meantime, while you're playing, if you have a mandolinist with you, he's going to play also. He's going to play the chord. And he's going to change. And it goes back to the C. And it goes back to the G7. So then, if the pianist wants to play with the mandolinist, they play together. Wrote 5 piano pieces with the mandolin, and I never knew that. So it's an instrument that's related to the lute, which is centuries old. Things about music and how they differ from each other. You could never do it, well, I would say, maybe I shouldn't say never, but not as well if you learn the notes. Otherwise you wouldn't know what's going on. You know, when you see maybe on the computer someone play, you know, like how fast he could play and so on, what good is it going to do you? You don't know what the heck he's doing. You have to be strict and you have to account for every note. So playing fast is anything, because you don't know what's going on, and Many people who do learn the wrong way and they attach themselves to the wrong rhythm. They may never get out of that hole. They may never climb out of it because they trained the body not to be rhythmic rather, correct. Everything has to be correct. It's like a ballet school. The ballerinas all have to, they usually have a pianist there. They all have to count. And even in the Olympics, the ones who are able to stay up and do a good job is they know exactly when to move. The body works that way. Many of them are excellent at that because they don't move too soon or too late. They know when to move. And you have to train the body to be accurate. So, and so on. So, only the instrument plays, we don't play. Okay, now, and always remember to count it and be accurate as possible.